Today's conversation is about leadership that is calm, value driven, and deeply human. It is not about chasing titles or numbers, but about who we become while achieving them.
Success is when you are happy doing what you're doing and when you have total peace of
Right.
mind.
So there are moments of conflicts, right? While you talk about many good values, at the same time, these are business
Past or
realities. How
don't
have
look
you?
whether values work. Look
Mhm.
whether values exist in the
Right.
first place.
People, especially in corporate, I've seen that perception management works a lot. Many
Yeah,
people they create perception, but then the mask can also get broken, especially when you are under pressure.
because
Right.
the easiest way out is to get rid of people. That's the fastest
What you
and
are
easiest way
saying,
out
some
because
of
we
the
all
people
love
listening to this may feel like an idealist view of the
that
corporate world, if not,
unethical leaders leave behind a trail of burnt out
it
employees.
yeah. If you are
It
following
does.
karma on Instagram, karma is going to follow
So,
you back. As you said, just walk out. I think it's such a great solution for all the problems. But yes, the reality of new life is too many EMIs and personal loan going on, by the way, to walk out
chart your
quickly.
own path. We always, all of us have a choice.
Yes.
Always. Because only when you start walking on the path starts to emerge. I would be a coach.
You are taking away my job, Shweta.
Yes.
Welcome to this edition of Unscripted. I am Rahul Gupta. I am a career and leadership coach and founder of Transform Ahead. This podcast is my space to hold honest, human conversation with real people, leaders, professionals, and change makers who have chosen growth over comfort. Through raw and meaningful dialogues, we are going to explore career pivots, defining moments, mindset shifts, and leadership journeys from inside out. So, whether you are at the crossroads or chasing your next big breakthrough or just need a relatable conversation, this space is for you. So, let's dive in. So, let me introduce our guest for today, Shweta Sinha. We have with us. Shweta has spent close to 3 decades in the world of media, advertising, and business leadership. She has led high pressure markets, driven strong revenue outcomes, and built long lasting client partnerships across some of India's most respected media organizations. What stands out for me, however, is not just her business track record, it is her consistent emphasis on clarity, communication, emotional steadiness, and value led leadership. I have been reading Shweta on LinkedIn, following her on YouTube, and many other places where she posts her, small nuggets of wisdom. And predominantly, it's around values, leadership, and so on, which got my attention. And I said, I need to get Shweta on this call. Now, just to kind of wrap up her introduction, one very important point, she is also an author of a book called A Million Smile, which has just got published, a reflective exploration of human values and leadership drawn from lived experience in boardrooms and beyond. Shweta, welcome to TLC Unscripted. It's great to have you here.
Rahul, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And it's always been a pleasure to know you, and I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So what we'll do, Shweta, just to keep things, just to keep things very transparent, let me first call out that I have not shared a single question with you, and you are coming based on who you are, the true core person, and I'm going to surprise you with some questions and followed by a rapid fire round. I hope you are prepared for this.
As you said, it's unscripted, so I'm not prepared. So bring it on, BIO.
BIO, sure, sure. Okay, so let me start with your own journey, Shweta, right? Your career journey, your leadership journey, and so on. My question to you is when you look back at nearly 30 years, I think you have spent, right, in
Almost.
media,
This year I'll complete 30. Yeah.
you will complete 30. So, good 3 decades. My question to you is if you look back at those years, right, which phase shaped you the most as a leader? What do you remember when you think about yourself as a leader with a 30-year long journey?
I think, Rahul, to answer your question, we all start young in terms of the way our belief systems, start shaping us. We may not realize it at that point of time. But my career kicked off with the Times of India in 1996. And I was very fortunate that I had a great boss to work with. She was the branch head at that point of time. And I resonated with her. And I'll give a very small example, which I mentioned in the book also. So the first thing that I saw in her was a great quality, which was kindness. So I remember this was around my birthday when she had resumed. She was on maternity leave when I had joined. So I really didn't get to know my boss. So for 6 months, I was bossless in that sense. And when she joined, I don't know how, but she knew it was my birthday. And she wished me, and all that was fine. The next day, my intercom buzzed, and I was expecting a work request. When I pick up the phone, a familiar voice asks me, "So, how was yesterday?" And it was a moment for me. After 30 years, I haven't forgotten that moment. So, this is what human beings, when they lead and when they lead with kindness, it starts to resonate with you. I resonated big time with her. And with a human being like that, I think you would want to work more. You would want to just sort of give it your best shot. And you sort of just start to connect and relate. And that's how my career started. And that's how my leadership journey began. Because I saw a lot of things in her which I resonated with. I saw myself in her. And I've just been fortunate enough to pick up these things from the people that I've worked with. As I said, it doesn't really need to have, you don't really need to have a title or a designation. This kindness can come from anywhere.
There is a a quote which says that people will forget what you said, but people won't forget how you
How
made
you
them feel.
treated them. Yes, how you made them feel.
Yeah.
That's
So
absolutely true.
I think you remember that particular moment of kindness that she displayed, where she could have
Yeah,
asked
because
you
it's
about so much.
1996, right?
Great,
And she had
awesome,
just resumed. She was grappling herself with her work, in terms of all the backlog that there was to attend. But she did take that moment out and spoke to me. And
nice,
I've just been, blessed that way. I've learned a lot along the way.
great. And tell me something again, going back to your early career days, right? What did success mean to you at that time, and has the definition of success changed over time for you?
Success means different things to different people. That's what I've realized.
Hmm.
So to me, success is not about titles and designation. Success is when you are happy doing what you're doing and when you have total peace of mind. To me, that defines success, and that has not really changed drastically in the last 3 decades that I have worked. Uh, it has just evolved. And I've realized that when you lead with integrity and when your conscience is clear and you're happy doing what you're doing and you're delivering, I think you're answerable to yourself first before you're answerable to anybody else. And to me, that is my prime definition of being successful. I'll give you an example. Look at somebody probably who's a vice president or a CEO, and the entire environment is full of stress. To the outside world, the person may seem successful, but the kind of politics or the pressures or the kind of things that the negative things that one deals with, and I'm not saying one deals with those things only at that level. You can deal with negativity at any level. Is Does that make you successful? Is success limited to just titles? So my definition of success is very different.
Sure, sure. What you are saying is your outside and inside should be in sync. Otherwise, you don't feel that the sense of happiness inside you. Outside, you may look very successful,
Absolutely.
but inside, you are kind of grappling with things, right?
Absolutely. I hear now, and I'm sure you would have heard too. It's there definitely in the media industry. There have been a couple of cases and incidents where we've lost people because they were so stressed and they were all at senior level. So were
Sure,
they successful? I'd like to throw the question back at the audience. Were they successful? I don't think they were successful. They were a very unhappy lot.
sure, sure. Understood. Now, while you talk about this, what thought that I'm getting is there are certain business realities, right? On the ground, there are targets, there are numbers, and the corporate is driven by results, bottom line, top line, and so on, right? So there are moments of conflicts, right? While you talk about many good values, at the same time, these are business realities. How have you balanced these things out, Shweta?
So to me, values don't remove pressure, if you ask me. They help leaders respond to the pressure without, you know, making the wrong diagnosis, if I can call it that. For me, and
Mm.
I'll speak for myself, the way I look at it, values are great stabilizers. If you look at a pressure situation, uh, don't ask or don't look whether values work. Look
Mm-hmm.
whether values exist in the first place.
Okay.
A pressure situation will expose that.
Mm.
Yeah, whether values exist in the first place at all or not.
Sure.
Values to me have given me strength to respond better to pressure. I've got a
Okay.
sense of great meaning and direction. They've been my biggest strength. And
Okay.
I then power through fear. Values don't mean that courage, so courage is a value, right? So courage doesn't mean that you are fearless. I'm just giving you an illustration. Courage just means that you have the capacity to power through, or if not power through, to plod through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, great. I understand, and I really like the point you made that uh, whether it exists or not, first of all, at the first place, even before you think about how to use it and so on and so forth, right? Because under pressure, like people, especially in corporate, I've seen that perception management works a lot. Many
Yeah.
people they create perception, but then the mask can also get broken, especially when you are under pressure, right? Now,
Absolutely.
you know what I've realized, Shweta, the people who are in the middle of the pyramid, right, who have pressure from the top, who have pressure from the bottom, right, from the team, they are kind of stressed out because team is pushing them. I call that particular layer as the sandwich layer because they are getting sandwiched between the both the top and the bottom. Now, in those kind of situation where you have pressure coming from all direction, right, I'm very sure, and I've heard of media as an industry which is difficult industry to work with. I don't have direct exposure to it. You know about it 30 years. I mean, how have you balanced things out, especially when you were in the middle of the pyramid and you were not like on the top of the pyramid? What is your advice or some of the tips that you can share with us for mid career professionals?
I would say, like I will, and at the risk of reiterating myself, I will just say that values give you tremendous strength.
Mhm.
And I'll demonstrate that this by an example. So, in one of the organizations that I was working with, I was heading that region, and so it was a beautiful print magazine that I was working for. However, our website was not getting traction, and I had a colleague on the digital sales side, good, smart guy, capable, but I was under tremendous pressure from HR, in brackets, the CEO, to get rid of him.
Okay.
And so now the test of a true leader in this example is to understand, is to discern, is to judge whether the person is the problem or the product is the problem. Because the easiest way out is to get rid of people. That's the fastest and easiest way out because we all love to take the easy way out, right? We love convenience over truth. So I stood my ground and I knew my neck was also on the line because I was extending myself. But then I stood my ground and I explained clearly that even if we change the person, the outcome will not change. Results will not, numbers will not start to flow. The problem was with our platform, it was not getting enough traction. So I just stayed put where I was. And in the end, I prevailed. My colleague stayed. I stayed. But that's the way, at least I have looked at things. And that, in my perception, that has been my reality. And that's the way I have worked. It's always very, very easy to take the easy way out. And the easiest way is the fastest way. I live with a clean conscience and I work with a clean conscience. And that's what makes me happy.
Got it. So, I mean, you have to stand your ground if you feel it is aligned with your own value system and, work as per that rather than giving into the pressures of the circumstances. That's what I think I learned.
Absolutely, because you have to be courageous and you have to be discerning. Context, you have to look at context in any leadership role. And I do not mean that leadership, when I say leadership, you have to be the CEO. You're always responsible for somebody or the other. So you have to look at context and then discern, then arrive at a certain judgment.
Sure.
So that self awareness and that checking of the self has to be 24 by 7. Because if that is not there, uh, you know, power at any level can go out of hand.
Right. By the way, what you are saying, some of the people listening to this may feel like an idealist view of the corporate world, if not anything else, right? That are there people who actually do that, or these are things? So you are a good role model to follow, Shweta, when it comes to following your own inner consciousness and the value system. But please tell me one thing, like you are one of them, but there are nine who don't do that, right? Out of every 10, I think you are one out of nine, right? So how do you then work out? Because the system, right? People say the system cannot be changed. The corporate system, rewards more perception than reality, which even I have seen and witnessed. So how do you work through that system, which is so difficult for people who stand for their values?
Each to his own, I would say. Uh, the only point I'll make here is that unethical leaders leave behind a trail of burnt out employees. They
Wow.
leave behind an erosion of trust. And sooner or later, things catch up back with you. So, as a leader at any level, the hallmark of a true leader is to protect your people.
Great. I think it's a great quote. I think I heard somebody saying karma follows you back. Okay, so if if you are,
It does. It
yeah,
does.
if you are
It does.
following karma on Instagram, karma is going to follow you back, right? But great point, Shweta. Thanks a lot. I think you emphasized on integrity, empathy, courage, then standing by people. I think these are some of the great values people can have, especially at leadership position where if I have seen leaders also, Shweta, on the other side of the world who hog the limelight. They are always the front and center of everything, while the team is just the workhorse behind them, right? So, I mean, in your experience, have you come across such people? Because I heard of a good leader at the beginning where you said she was kind, but how have you dealt with difficult leaders who hog the limelight without giving you any kind of perspective?
So I've come across in my career of almost 3 decades, I've come across all kinds of people, Rahul.
Yeah.
Uh, so my take is do your best, and you have no control over others, but you have full, complete control over how you think and how you behave and how you act. So what happens here comes out in your words, and then it comes out in your actions. So
Hmm.
you can't change others, and you'll never be able to do that. You should not even attempt to change people, but you keep your head down, you work hard, and you just let things fall in place by themselves. And if they don't, you owe yourself that much of truth and integrity to, if things get unbearable, then to just walk out.
Walk out. Yeah,
Yeah,
obviously.
just walk out. You can't. I would say you cannot, should not. At least I haven't. That's my truth. Uh, I don't let my mental health suffer. And I see a lot of that happening in the media
Hmm.
industry today, which is why I'm making this point.
Yeah, well, thanks for making this point. First of all, I think those who are going to, listen to you, I think they will gather this courage where if they have to put a or draw a line, they should be able to draw a line. Because I've seen a lot of people accommodating those, wrong kind of requests that comes their way. Even if they have to compromise a lot, they sometimes do just because they have to survive, right? So as you said, just walk out. I think it's such a great solution for all the problems. But yes, the reality of new life is too many EMIs and personal loan going on, by the way, to walk out quickly.
Absolutely. But the thing is, we start working in the right direction. Things
Yes,
will not happen overnight, but as long as the consciousness is there and the self awareness is there, there is always a way out.
sure,
I'm
sure.
for no point of time I'm suggesting a rebellion or a protest march or a walking out overnight. But You chart your own course, you chart your own path. We always, all of us have a choice.
Yes.
Always.
Yes. Perfect, perfect. I mean, I love it. I mean, more I am talking to you, I'm just wondering why we are talking so late. We should have done this conversation much before, right? Because it's surely going to help so many people, right? To have that. What you are saying is you don't have to do it immediately, but you need to have a game plan, right? That takes you out of that situation, and you should have the courage to go ahead and pursue that game plan, right?
Absolutely, because only when you start walking on the path starts to emerge.
Wow.
I would look at you, Rahul. You had a flourishing career going. So these are not theoretical and bookish things.
Yes.
It is possible. And it is not possible in some far off distant land. It is very, very doable. It is very possible. The only thing is we need to become very, very self aware and very conscious and take the right steps when we need to take them
Yeah. And
instead of
leadership.
drowning and being allowed to pulled into that vortex.
Yeah, and leadership, Shweta, my understanding is starts with the process of self-awareness. That's the starting point
Absolutely.
of leadership. And if you are self-aware, you can do a lot many things. Now, just changing a bit of gear here, you have been a leader, and I'm sure there were team members who worked with you closely. Uh, did you find, have you practiced coaching your team members as a manager, and how has that helped in your journey if you have done that?
So I've had the privilege of coaching quite a few, mentoring, I would say,
Sure.
quite a few of my colleagues along the way. It has helped me bring clarity to my own life
Okay.
because nothing is one way, I feel. When you're giving something to somebody, you're also getting it back
Sure.
without you consciously, working towards it. So when you look at people with a, with understanding, with kindness, with empathy, it it just feels extremely empowering that you're
Mm,
able to make a difference, positive difference in somebody else's life, in somebody else's work, and therefore to your own life. And it brings a whole lot of clarity to both the people who are concerned.
sure. And you, by the way, preempted my next question because I wanted to know, because of coaching, what did internally change for you? And you said that, it gives your own clarity. You learn from the other side. And
Absolutely.
I do feel, I am privileged as a coach, by the way, all the people who are on this call, plus, I coach. I get exposed to so many different industry functions and, different seniority level. And that's how I am in touch with the industry even after I am out of the industry now. So
Absolutely. It
I
changes your perspective. When you
it
talk to
does.
people, it changes your perspective. It just helps you grow so much as an individual.
Yes, absolutely. And by the way, I love the word clarity, and that's the mantra I also have in my coaching practice. So thanks for bringing up that word. Now,
Values give us clarity, Rahul.
yes, it does. It does. Absolutely. Great. Now, let me ask you about your book because that's a very interesting, uh, when I see the cover of your book, it says A Million Smiles. I mean, what inspired that name? What's the story behind the name of your book, A Million Smiles? And by the way, can you show your book quickly? I mean, so that other people can see and they can, by the way, go and buy that on Amazon. Wow. Okay, A Million
Is
Smiles.
it
Thanks,
clear,
Shweta.
visible?
Yes, it is. It is. Thanks a lot. First of all,
Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah, congratulations
Thank you.
on publishing your first book. I'm sure many
Thank
more
you.
to come. Many more to come. But let's hear story about this one.
So, what inspired the name of the book?
Yes, yes. And even if you
So,
want to just say, I mean, what made you write this book at the first place?
so I'll answer this question first.
Sure.
So, over the last, I would say, approximately 15, 20 years, I have just been observing people. Uh, and at my personal level, I've been trying to make sense of what I see, of how people treat each other, how people treat themselves,
Mhm.
how people treat the people who are not in power or people who are very junior, or how do you speak to your house help. And that same person, I see 10 different um, versions of the same person. So I've just been trying to make sense of. What is it that makes people tick, and what is it that is defining them? And that's how, I realized that it's people's belief systems and values that really make them who they are, which is what inspired me or made me write the book. In fact, the book has been unconsciously, very, very unconsciously, it's been in the making since very long. I really
Yes.
didn't think that I would write. I had no plans to write, but I was deep in meditation early last year, February, in fact. And this thought suddenly struck me while I was in the thick of meditation that I should write a book. And that's how it happened. So, now to answer your second question, why a million smiles? Because I think life has its tough moments, it has its happy moments. It may be joyful, it may not be joyful always, but I do think that we can make life meaningful, even beautiful. And if we walk it with kindness, with integrity, with heart, I think it will light up a million smiles.
Oh, I think quite a story. And by the way, I know that this book was in the making because I used to follow you on LinkedIn, and so many of your posts was on, value-based leadership. And I used to wonder where is it coming from, and is there a bigger game plan? I hope
There was
the
no bigger game plan then. I was just pouring out my thoughts because that is what I was seeing all around me, and then it just happened suddenly.
no, no, absolutely. I think it's a good reason for you to share your thoughts with the world, because this world needs a lot of that, right? Given that, as I said, right, the whole corporate culture moves end of the day by top line, bottom line, quarterly
Yeah.
results, and so on. So people are under tremendous pressure. There are a lot of mental health issues going on. People, I know very young people are on depression pills very early in their life just because they can't take this, you know
It's very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate.
yeah, so people need to read these kind of thoughts and books which can give them a little bit more hope. But tell me, Shweta, if a senior leader buys this book and starts reading, right, what do you hope will be one inner shift that can happen in such kind of people after reading your book?
I think the greatest inner shift that I can hope for is for that person, whoever is reading it. I hope the person imbibes courage with kindness.
Okay, courage with
Because
kindness.
yes, very,
Okay,
very critical for us to be leaders in whichever field we are. And again, I repeat, I'm not talking about leaders as CEOs and titles and
sure.
designations. All of us are leaders in our various walks of life. So if we lead with courage and if we lead with kindness,
Hmm.
I think more people would be at peace.
And any example you can think from either from the book or in general, like typically I've seen people in corporate, especially whom we call leaders, they have a span of control, which means there are people under them, they're managing teams, right, small or large. How does having these values or qualities
So,
help in managing teams?
so, so prime example, I would go
Hmm.
beyond what you just said. All of us have heard of Karambir Khan, I'm sure. He was the general manager of Taj Hotels when the terrorist strike happened in 2008.
Yes.
Uh, the courage that he displayed, I think it was one of the finest forms of human behavior, bravery that I think this world will witness. Is one of the finest forms of human bravery because he was not at the hotel when it happened. He came rushing back. His wife and two kids died in the fire, but he stayed on. He just stayed on. He didn't even give himself time to mourn. And he only did that when everything was over, when all the terrorists were flushed out, and when the whole story had ended. That kind of courage gives me gooseflesh even right now that I am talking. So we may not face such kind of dire circumstances in our life, and I hope none of us do. But courage in everyday choices that we make, meaningful choices in our homes, in our office spaces, in our friendships, in our relationships, the courage to own up when you have erred in a relationship, the courage to protect your team in a corporate sector, in an office setup, the courage to speak the truth because somebody will benefit out of that. I think these are small daily choices that we all should make, and we need to make that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this word choice because, as you said earlier, that there is always a choice, right?
Yeah,
Whatever you
yeah,
do.
and one more example to narrow down your question. Talking of courage, so I was working in an organization, and at that point, this is pre-COVID days. Work from home was not the norm,
Hmm.
especially in sales. Work from home, I don't even think it's the norm even now.
Sure.
Uh, my colleague, he had a baby. He had an infant girl, and I noticed that since about a week or 10 days, he used to come to office red-eyed, seemed very distracted, was very vague in meetings. So I took him aside and I asked him what the problem was, if there was anything that I should know or I could help with. He told me that his wife, which I knew, she was a nutritionist in a hospital and she was doing double shifts. So she was away at night. So my colleague used to stay awake the whole night to take care of the daughter. I think she was 6 or 7 months old. So with the result that he came to office in the morning and he just couldn't, I mean, it was total lack of sleep. So I just told him and I took the call on the spot. Uh, I told him that he should work from home and he should just stay on course. And his productivity went up. The numbers went up, Rahul.
Sure. Sure.
So I took that call on my own. If I were to look at policy manuals and rule books,
Mm,
that wouldn't have been there. So that is where real leadership starts. It starts beyond the rule book. It
absolutely. Great
starts when you
example.
take a courageous act, when you make a courageous act, when you take that call to protect
Yes.
your people at the same time you protecting your numbers as well.
Correct.
So you're not sacrificing one at the cost of the other. But I took that call on my own and I was ready to face or to answer anybody who questioned me later on that. But I had to protect both. I was responsible for both. And I'm not going to sacrifice my team
Mm,
for for a policy which says no work from home.
sure. Sure. No, I think you made the right choices. And as you said, it's beyond the rule book. You have to understand and judge the situation as a leader and then accordingly act.
One
Uh,
has to look at context.
Yeah, and those choices actually, I was talking to a client today where I said, right, under pressure, people behave differently. Okay. And you make the choice of doing the right things or giving up the right things. Both are possible, and you are the person who makes the choice. I think, we are in sync with that point. But you said now you are ready to answer question. Now, please be ready to answer some rapid fire questions from me. Okay. And please don't think too hard. I'm going to ask 10, straightforward question, whatever comes to your mind first. Please go ahead with that. Okay, can I go ahead?
Good. Bring it on.
All right. If your life were a Netflix series, what would it be titled?
She did it.
She did it. Wow. Okay. Awesome. Finish this sentence. If I weren't in the current role, I'd be what?
I would be a coach.
You are taking away my job, Shweta.
Yes. This is rapid fire. You're not giving me time to think too much.
Okay, fair enough. I'm doing a fairly good job in that case if you want to be a coach. A life mantra you would tattoo on your forearm if you had to.
Mental peace and strength.
Okay. One word that defines your leadership style.
Kindness with courage.
Kindness with courage. Okay. What is a belief you have unlearned recently?
So this is a tough one. You can't trade peace. You should never compromise on peace. This is what I've learned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We can keep it that way. It's okay. Yeah. Uh, the next one is, what is your biggest strength that is often misunderstood?
Empathy.
Okay. One dish you love to cook for your friends.
Egg curry.
Egg curry. You need to, if you call me a friend, then you need to treat me as well.
I will.
Okay. What do you wish? more leaders talk openly about?
Humility. It's a great way to stay curious and to stay humble and to learn. It keeps you grounded.
Absolutely. Okay. If you could give your younger self one sentence of advice, what would it be and why?
Pause, be patient before reacting.
Okay.
Reaction doesn't get us anywhere.
Reaction won't get us anywhere. Fair enough. And the last one is, if AI could solve just one human problem, what should it be?
No hostility, kindness, and love for humankind.
Excellent. I think you did pretty well in the rapid fire round, Shweta. Congrats.
Thank you.
So before we close, Shweta, any idea from your book or anything that you want to say that leaders in today's world should ideally sit with this week and think about it? What is that one idea you want to leave, people with, that they should be thinking about?
But leadership is not authority. It lies in being self-aware. It lies in making the conscious, meaningful choices, value-led choices that shape you and your space wherever you are.
Excellent. Excellent. That's a great message, Shweta. And with that, I really want to thank you, deeply for the honesty that you have displayed in terms of giving all those nuggets of wisdom from your experience, the depth and perspective. And also, this conversation, I think, will stay with many leaders for a long time. Thanks a lot for joining us, and thanks a lot for sharing your story.
Ral, thanks so much. Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure and my privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Unscripted. If today's episode has sparked something in you, don't forget to leave your thoughts or comments. And don't forget to subscribe us on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or just follow me on LinkedIn. If you are curious to know about our community Transform Ahead Leadership Circle, feel free to visit our website transformahead.com. As always, stay curious, stay grounded, and lead with clarity, confidence, and commitment. Until next time.